If you have watched the AgilePoint platform overview, you may have noticed a small overlap with the content of this video. Welcome to AgilePoint NX. This video will be an overview on how to build a form-based application. For the data source, we will be using a data entity in which to build the application around. With this enhancement, we can support two approaches for building an application. The first one is a form-first approach, and that is the example we will be looking at in this video. You define the schema first and then bind the form controls to the data entity directly. Of course, you are not limited to just the data entity as the data source. It will work the same way for an external data source like Salesforce or a custom database. For more information about a data entity, please refer to the overview video that covers how to use the Data Entity Wizard. To begin building our form-based application, click on Build Apps in the Portal menu. On the Build App screen, click the Add App button in the Build an App section. This will display the application type window, where you can choose between a process-based or a form-based application. Let's select a form-based application. I would like to point out that process-based applications can also be built around data entities. Click Next. Now let's give the application a name. You can select the language and enter a description, but for this example, we will use the default settings and click Next. Now let's select Data Entity for the primary data source and click Next. For the data source name, we will just put the same name as we used for the application name. Check the Custom Entities Only checkbox, and this will display only the custom entities rather than the entire list. This way, there will be a smaller list to work with. Next, select Customer from the Primary Entity Name Select Box drop-down list. Clicking on the Fields tab will display all the fields that are available for the customer entity. Clicking on the Related Entities tab will display the child entity that is associated with customer. Let's check the checkbox so it will include order history and its fields. Click Finish. This will create a form-based application and generate 2 blank forms and 3 views. A blank form called New Customer, another blank form called Update Customer, and 3 views. An All Customers, a Recently Created Customers, and a Recently Modified Customers view. Clicking OK will open the form builder where you can start designing and building the new customer form. Let's leave the form settings on their default values and close the form settings window. Now, let's change the column layout by clicking on Columns in the Form Builder menu. Change it from 3 to 2 and click OK. Now, let's drag and drop a heading control from the Common Controls tab. Enter a name in the label text box and close the heading window. Next, let's drag and drop the name control from the Data Model menu on the right. Any settings that were defined when creating the entity fields will be carried over, so you do not need to define them here unless you want to make a change. Now, let's drag and drop the email control. Again, any settings that were defined when creating the entity fields do not need to be defined here unless you want to make a change. This will apply to the rest of the controls that will be used from the Data Model menu. Next is the phone control, and then the address control. Span the address control over both columns and adjust the width. Then drag and drop the city control, and then the state control. Next, we will add another heading control and enter a name in the label text box and close the heading window. Below the heading, we will add the Order History Complex Child node from the Data Model menu. When the child node is added, a window will be displayed asking you to select a control type. Select Subform from the list and click OK. Span the subform across both columns and click the Edit icon in the Form Control Quick menu. Click the Configure tab and go to Display Style. Click the drop-down select box and choose Columns. This will display the subform in a column-based format. Close the Subform Settings window and click the Design Subform icon from the Form Control Quick menu. We want the subform to have 5 columns, so let's add them by clicking the plus button. Then, in the My Control Library menu on the right, click the database icon to display the controls that are associated with the child entity. Let's drag and drop order date, then quantity, unit price, amount, and then the last one, item description. This completes the design of our subform. Let's close this. With the subform complete, we can save and check in the new customer form. This will return you to the Application Explorer screen. Now, click on the Update Customer Form in the Recent Items section. In the Do you want to copy the layout of new customer to this form dialog box, click Yes. This will copy the new customer form structure to the update form and open the update form in the Form Builder. You can use the bulk edit option in the Form Builder menu to change the settings of the form controls all in one place, rather than clicking on each form control. But for now, we are going to use the default settings for the Update Customer Form. We can save and check in the Update Customer Form. With the application finished, we can publish it by clicking Publish in the My Applications menu. Click Check In to finish checking in any files. With all the files checked in, the Publish Application window will be displayed. For the default view, you can select one of the views that was generated when the application was created: All Customers, Recently Modified Customers, and Recently Created Customers. This will set which form is displayed when the application is initiated. We're going to use All Customers. Click Publish. With the application published, click on Work Center in the Portal menu. Click on My Applications, and here you can see the application is available to use. Click on the application to initiate it. The application opens with the default view that we selected when publishing, which was All Customers. We can see a record that was already entered when the data entity was created. Let's enter a new record. Let's enter some information into the Customer Details section. Now, we will enter an order in the Order History section and duplicate that order. Let's make a few changes to the second order. Now you can see we have a new parent record with its information, along with a new child record with its 2 orders. With the form completed, we will click the Submit button. Once the form has been submitted successfully, the new record will be displayed, along with the previous record. Next, we will click on the View icon to open the new record that was created. You can see that the information was saved to the data entity. Now let's make a change to some of that order information that was just created. Let's click on the Edit button, and now let's make some changes to the second order. We'll click Submit to save the changes. And now let's click on the View icon again for the new record. You can see that the changes to the order have been saved to the data entity. We can also see the new record directly in the data entity. To do this, click on Build Apps in the Portal menu, and then click on the Data Entities button. Click on Entities in the left side menu and go to Custom Entity and click on Customer. Click on the Data tab and you will see that the record was created. If you go back to the Custom Entity and click on Order History, then click on the Data tab, you can see that the order information for the child entity was also entered and saved in the My Customer entity. In closing, let's review what you have learned in this video. First, we have learned how to automate the eForm design using an entity-first approach. We have learned how to change the form's layout, how to data bind form fields with external sources, as well as learned how to run the application. This completes the overview for building form-based applications.